Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about Cavalier difficulty nodes and what champions better to use against them. Now I had a lot of questions asked during today's stream, and I have had several questions asked in previous streams as well in regards to this exact same question: which champions are most helpful in Cavalier difficulty, seeing as the global nodes so far have pretty much remained the same for 3 months in a row. So that means it's relatively decently safe assumption that the nodes will be as is for some while to come, and we obviously will have some favorites of each class to use. Now this video is not specifically for this Cavalier quest, it's more about the global nodes. I will also upload a video where I will go over the best options for each boss, explain who I used, and maybe tag in some more problem fights. But this video is much more specific towards just better champions in Cavalier difficulty, perhaps with much more significant accent on the 4-star challenge that lets you earn extra 10% tier 5 class catalyst. So the way we're going to do this video is I'm going to go through class by class, and we're going to check out what 4-star champions I have, what I used, and what I have found to be the most helpful thus far. So first quest in this month was the Tech Quest, and to be fair, I do find the Tech node kind of relatively annoying to play around. I largely just end up using either Ghost or Star-Lord for majority of my fights, or use champions of other classes and just ignore the global node. Now, two champions that I think would work absolutely fantastically for this quest would be Warlock. I actually use him to finish off the boss as well, and because he can shut down the healing, and Hulkbuster because he has potent power drain abilities of his own, plus the heavy spam in the corner, and he can do some really good damage combined with the global node. So my suggestions here would be Warlock and Hulkbuster. If you have them ranked, Guillotine 2099 will do a lot of heavy lifting for you as well if you have ranked her up. But if not, obviously then there are standard options of Spider-Man, Stark Enhanced, Ghost, as they are excellent damage dealers in themselves, even though they don't particularly benefit from the global node. And Star-Lord is also who I used in my personal quest. But again, Tech class isn't really kind of like shining in sense of getting best use out of the global node, as at least the champions that most people have ranked up as they started progressing through the game. But let's move on, and the next quest in this month event was the Mystic one. And Mystic one is actually very simple. Any of the good old Mystic champions that do nullify plentifully will work absolutely excellent. Doctor Strange put in a really solid amount of work. Scarlet Witch can be crazy with those 20 prowess stacked up. In addition to that, any of the newer, better champions that can nullify buffs, Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Doctor Doom, Longshot can do some real damage, and Sorcerer Supreme as well. Those would personally be my recommendations, but overall, I think that Mystic Quest is relatively one of the simpler ones, one of the easier ones every month, because Mystic champions with that extra increased special attack damage are just so powerful, especially if you have a couple points of Mystic Dispersion and you are able to spam some of your special attacks, then that is definitely where you want to go, and perhaps look at those champions to rank up, even though the thought of ranking up 4 stars make me somewhat uncomfortable. Another mention would definitely be Dr. Voodoo. Dr. Voodoo can be absolutely fantastic for those Mystic quests as well. Right, let's move on. Which was the next quest? Was it Science? I think it was Science and then Skill. Yes, so Science quest. Now, the absolute MVP when it comes to dealing with Science quest is Captain America Infinity War, especially when you're doing the 4-star challenge, because he can have perfect parries, means he takes absolutely no damage going through it. You don't have to deal with any chip damage, and only thing you have to do is make sure that you have ideally at least 2 of his debuff partners on a team. So that means that you want to have another Science champion, an Attack, and a Cosmic, or at least any 2 of those 3 classes, because that will quite reliably help you just have enough debuffs to deal damage, because the accompanying node obviously is Distract, and Captain America Infinity War just pretty much ignores it and absolutely excels when it comes to benefiting from the science node. When it comes to dealing with specific problem matchups, I personally am a fairly proficient Quake user, and I do find Quake to be arguably the best kind of like option to bring alongside Cap Infinity War and use her in the hardest fights. Now, you will lose some damage output with Quake because you will not have 3 debuffs at all times. However, at a period when Quake does most of her damage, she does have 3 debuffs on the opponent by default, because you will have double stacked up concussions and a stun debuff when your aftershocks expire, so Quake is still perfectly viable, perfectly functional option for all of those nodes. Now, obviously, then you still have some other science options that can do decently, but will make the fights somewhat longer, like Void. Void can do well, especially if you're not running Suicide Masteries. And if you do have a 4-star Red Guardian, then you can quite easily use a 4-star Abomination, because Abomination will be able to stack a lot of poisons, gain a lot of furies, and Abomination's poison damage is based on the modified attack. So the poison damage will also pretty much skyrocket if you are using Red Guardian synergy in that quest, thanks to all the additional furies. So those are the MVPs of Science class. And after Science class, we're going to take a look at Skill class. Now, initially, I just kind of ran through with the Hagan for half time, but there's no good reason to do so. The best thing that you can do is bring in champions that inflict obviously a lot of debuffs in order to gain those furies and finish out the fights quicker. Therefore, Blade is still back in the running, and Blade is an amazing option for you to use if you are not running Suicide Masteries, because he can inflict bleeds like nobody's business. In addition to all of that, even though those bleeds expire quicker, you still have access to that danger sense, and you can still heal up to mitigate the block damage, so Blade's absolutely fantastic. Now, another option that is extremely great could be Gwenpool, because Gwenpool can completely shut down opponents' defensive ability accuracy, which is helpful, and she bleeds like nobody's business. Hitmonkey can spam bleeds, is very great. 2 of my personal favorite picks are Nick Fury and Massacre. Both of them can really make a great benefit from the global skill node, even though the debuffs do fall off quicker. But the increase of the Fury damage still is superbly helpful. I haven't tried Black Widow Clairvoyant in this quest. I suspect that she would do great as well. But overall, yeah, I would say focus on Nick Fury, Massacre if you can use him, Hitmonkey, Blade, and Gwenpool. Definitely they seem to be MVPs for the 4-star run. Right, now we have 2 more classes left, Mutants. Now, my personal choice of clearing Mutant Quest is pretty much always Colossus with Omega Red synergy, because Colossus benefits extremely highly from Biohazard. He doesn't really benefit from the Mutant Global node. However, the damage output is absolutely bonkers. You build up your armors quicker, and with Omega Red synergy, you just tear through that quest like nobody's business. Other than that, obviously Gambit now is extremely viable option, because he doesn't take any bleed damage, like all mutants pretty much not take no bleed damage now in the new quest as well, and you can benefit from the increase of prowess damage. Couple more things to remember, that even though taking 90% less bleed damage is great in any scenario where you use champions who are appropriately ranked, if you are using 4-star champions, you can still take quite significant amount of damage, especially if those bleeds are kind of stacking up. So in order to prevent yourself from doing that, you want to use Coagulate Mastery, and if you do, you can quite literally use any mutant champion at your disposal that is not bleed immune if you want to benefit from the increase of damage with those prowesses. An additional thing that can help you with that could possibly be making a champion Horseman of Apocalypse, because that gives the champion basically 100% less bleed damage, and you can run perfectly fine, ignoring all of the bleeds placed on you, and then you're pretty much left with whoever you want to use. There's no restriction after that point in Mutant class. But once again, my personal favorite definitely is Colossus with Omega Red, who I use for my initial runs, and then you can use Domino, because Domino has a chance to shrug off those bleeds and gain a whole bunch of power, so she could even be more aggressive now. And Archangel obviously shuts down a lot of opponents, still works absolutely fantastic. But Mutant class is quite stacked, and I really doubt that most people have problems with this quest in particular. And yeah, I just went over my suggestions for that class. And the last one is Cosmic. And Cosmic actually has some really spicy offerings, because that is one of the most crazy bonkers node, and we have some extremely interesting interactions. Now, first and foremost, I do think that at a 4-star level, arguably the best champion for these Cavalier difficulty quests is Angela. Because Angela, if you're running Suicide Masteries especially, can pretty much one-shot most opponents with a single level 3. The reason behind that is, and I have uploaded a video on this channel where I demonstrate how quickly Angela runs through that quest. But the reason behind that is that with all of those aptitudes you're going to be getting from the global node, your special 3 is absolutely supercharged. You can see that Angela's attack is increasing 599 for each buff active on her during this attack. You're likely going to have 20 aptitudes, you're likely going to have a fury buff, a precision buff or 2, and effectively you're going to have a huge attack increase. And even if opponents will not die directly after, when you drop your level 3, as soon as you get past 1 bar of power, you get 2 fury buffs who are crazy potent, and you're going to be hitting for crazy amount of damage. So Angela is one of the MVPs. Another MVP definitely is Hyperion, because Hyperion can build up those fury stacks extremely quickly. He has regen should you happen to take any chip damage or block damage if you wish to do so, and he can end up hitting for absolute tons. And not to mention that the final boss for this month's event quest in particular does require you to use a poison immune character, so he's also a viable boss option. Even though the global node is not active there, he's still great for the final boss. So basically I'm saying that 2 MVPs of Cosmic Quest definitely are Hyperion and Angela. Now, another worthwhile combination would be Medusa with Black Bolt, because first and foremost, Medusa obviously gains furies periodically, and if you are running Black Bolt, you can go up to 6 furies, and she can get up some insane damage. But Black Bolt himself also can become an absolute beast in this quest. It might take, depending on RNG, somewhat of a while to ramp him up, but he can be a crazy damage dealing option. Interestingly enough, Kamal Khan can possibly be also one of the better options, because she has a constant access to a lot of fury buffs with her level 1. So if you're absolutely stuck, Kamal Khan could potentially be an answer for you. Many people use Venom, and overall I think buffed up for Cosmic Champions is extremely beneficial. Some trouble might come where you need some specialty options that you might not find utility in Cosmic Class 4. Some notable mentions to use here would be Silver Surfer, who has access to plenty of buffs as well. In addition to that, Captain Marvel movie obviously gets those 5 furies, but I don't think she quite benefits enough from the global node. Carnage can also be a fantastic option. It's who I love to use if I'm not running Suicide Masteries. That is overall going to be my breakdown for most useful champions to use in Cavalier difficulty overall. Now, I will make another video tomorrow, so stay tuned, hit that notification bell, where I go over this month Cavalier event difficulty quest and suggest best options for problem fights, and I will also suggest best options for each and every single boss fight. That being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Hit that sub button, hit that like button. We're still pushing strong for 30k subs, so any help you guys can give to the channel, that is greatly appreciated. Share it and all that good stuff. I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about